But there's a kind of knowledge. There's a little chunk of knowledge that only they've got. And to get it, you got to face-to-face interact with these people, and they'll tell you. You ready? These are mutilation protection equipment, and I got them from GM. 87% of the cars that are returned at the end of the assembly line back into the line for further work are returned for what GM calls mutilation. Poor choice of words, but what they mean by mutilation are scratches. Scratches on the car. And it turns out that part of this has to do with country western music. Quite surprisingly, but it does. Country western music is a big deal in these places. And these guys in particular tend to wear great big belt buckles with Harleys on them, and I don't know whatever country music people do. And so part of the equipment is also this. This goes here. And this guy here goes around any bracelets or watches or anything else like that, and they want them to wear this. And it turns out, in fact, that this 87% of cars that are returned to the line are caused by jewelry and belt buckles and bracelets that the guys unintentionally, the men and women unintentionally scratch these cars when they're working on them. And GM realizes, wow, if only they'd wear this stuff, we would have an 87% reduction in cars rolling off the end of the line. So they bring in some outside consultants and they come up with a campaign. This is Softy. Softy, the mutilation protection guy. And their idea is they're going to take this out, and they've got brochures, and they've got little Softy pillows and squishies and everything. And it's this slogan, wear your protection up the ladder of perfection. And then the individual plants are going to come up here, 20%, 40%, the number of people who do it. Now, one of the communication staff was, let's just hesitate before we take Softy out to the plants. Johnny, just put this in perspective. Let me show you a fairly typical automobile worker. And here's Softy. There's the employee. There's Softy. So what does she do? She's really fabulously good. And she works at the, I'll use a name, I don't want to embarrass you. She works at the plant in Oshawa outside of Toronto. And she takes these things to the supervisors, and she says to the frontline supervisor, says, 87% of the cars are returned for these. We need your employees to wear these. What do you recommend? We're thinking about bringing Softy out here. And the supervisors say, whatever you do, please don't bring Softy out here. Well, what do you recommend? And you know what the supervisor said? She did 4 or 5 of them. Give me a pair. Just give me a pair. Keep the head office out of here. Just give me a pair. And in one day, she had 4 or 5 supervisors wearing these and this. At the end of 2 weeks, she had 96% of employees wearing these.